Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Chris Yi.
Today we're taking a look at a game called Emberheart. This is from Mind Clash Games. Adam Porter, Rob Fisher designers, and Andrew Bosley did the art, if you can't tell that.
Yeah, Mind Clash Play, they're more approachable line of games. They had like Ironwood and stuff in it. Mind Clash typically known for doing just really large, kind of bombastic, big Euro games. This one's a little more of a streamlined kind of thing.
Sure, Chris is going to show you how to play, and we'll be back.
Here's Emberheart set up on the table. This is the main worker placement board where players are going to be making bids with their workers of increasing values to try to get these different items here. Villagers or new hirelings, new dragons to rescue, preserves to place the dragons into, and goals or garrison cards over here. Each player's board comes with an A side or a B side. The A side has no variable player power. The B side does have something that makes each color unique. And as they move up these different tracks of the different colors here, red, blue, and green, they're going to be powering up their dragon companion, which can be paired up with worker placement discs, as well as these hirelings that they'll place out onto the board to give them different abilities. These tracks will only affect the one placement out of 5 you do each round that contains your dragon ability here. Now there are hirelings of different colors, and we'll talk about some of the specialties, but there's also equipment tokens. You can spend these equipment tokens at any time to turn these hirelings from a basic grunt into an upgraded one, and there are 3 different colors: yellow, blue, and purple. We'll talk about those spots where those workers can go out onto the board. Across the 5 rounds of play, as marked by this indicator here, players are going to, starting with the first player, take an action, and then going clockwise around until all players have triggered the end of the round effect. On their turn, for their one action, they will do one of 3 things. Either they can place a worker placement disc onto one of these bidding locations, or they may place it into one of these 2 instant action spaces, or they can choose to take one of these shield tokens. When all 4 of these shield tokens have been taken, that will mark the end of the round. And when you take a shield token, you'll do whatever the associated bonus action right underneath it is. In order for a player to claim a spot, they have to place out a bidding marker of theirs along with these hirelings. They can always use these gray hirelings in any colored spot. However, they are going to lose those hirelings at the end of the round once they activate that action. The colored ones here, like this yellow one, will stay from round to round in that player's possession. However, they are limited. So here at the Heroes Guild or at this tavern action, they can send these yellow workers. However, they cannot send them to the garrison or to the preserve because those ones require blue workers. So with these 3 discs here, along with their player marker, they can come to this spot here at the tavern to try to claim these cards, which will give them more of these workers, or they could spend more of these tokens in order to jump to the front with 5 strength and then be able to jump and take that action first. When placing out one of the worker discs, you may also choose to add your companion to it, which will add 3 different things. First, according to your red track, it'll add a number of grunts virtually, so this, instead of being a stack of 2 workers, would count as 3 workers, increasing its bid by the amount shown here. The blue track will activate if the companion dragon is placed onto the number 3 spot of a bidding location, in which the player was going to then get some of these equipment tokens. And lastly, if the dragon is placed into an area where it is the first dragon placed there, you'll get to move back on the fire track the indicated number of steps. Instead, a player may choose to go here to the warehouse to grab 2 of these equipment tokens so that they can change the colors of their worker disc from one to another, or they can go to the fire station in order to grab 4 of those grunts and get them in their supply. However, you notice that anytime that this symbol shows up on an action or a card that players gain, they'll have to move their associated marker on the fire track 1 step to the right, or sometimes to the left, depending on the cards or actions taken. The last action a player can do on their turn is to take one of these shield aid tokens here. Whoever takes this one is going to be the first player for the next round. However, they also get to take back any one of their worker placements, rearrange it as they wish, and place it into any other spot on the board that they see fit. The next one over here, when it gets removed, is going to allow the player who chooses it to flip over one of these raid cards and to choose which of the negative raid effects will happen at the end of the round. This will happen to everyone, including the person who takes the defense token. This one here is going to allow players to gain one of those equipment tokens, the ones that can change colors of the worker hirelings, as well as break ties when that becomes relevant. And whoever takes this last one here is going to move 2 steps back on the fire track. The round will end immediately as soon as the last of the aid tokens is claimed from the board, meaning that not every worker placement disc might get placed out there. When this happens, you'll immediately start resolving the location starting at the Heroes Guild on the bottom left and going around clockwise. Whoever has the highest bid here gets to claim one of the heroes, which will give that player a special ability once this card has been paired up with a matching dragon of its color. It'll also give endgame scoring based on a condition or based on a variable amount of times that an objective was completed if it's paired with a dragon. From the Heroes Guild, players will then move up to the tavern, and in the tavern, players can take these cards, which will give them extra of the hireling tokens. Moving up to the poachers camp, players will get to claim some of these dragons. There are dragons of 3 colors, red, green, blue, or in this case, an any color dragon. However, when you claim this one, you have to move up on the flame track. When you come to the mountain, you can claim cards from the bottom here, and then based on whoever has the most of the purple discs sent, will get to continue climbing up the mountain, and if there's a tie to be broken, whoever claimed the tiebreaker aid will get to choose which player is first versus if any players are second and third. Whoever is highest gets to claim more cards up the dragon track, possibly suffering more penalties and having to pay one of their adventurers to take certain cards or to take any cards in this row. If a player still qualifies to take a card from the top of the row, they'll also get to move up any one of the colored tracks, as well as having claimed more dragons this turn. Moving down here to the Preserve, players will get to choose one of these landscapes that they can pair up with dragons. And then lastly, in the Garrison, in reverse from starting from highest to lowest, players can claim one of these goals. If a player meets this objective at any time, they can tuck this underneath their board, move up a track, and they'll score points at the end of the game. Afterwards, all players will suffer the Poacher's Raid effect. Once this is done, cards will wipe from the board, reset with their decks here. The round marker will move forward, and then players will play the next round until they have completed 5 rounds. After 5 rounds of play, players will score up their total points from the dragons they've collected, from the tracks that they have moved up on their player boards up to the highest number of each of the 3 levels there, for any heroes whose goals they have completed, for the garrison cards which they have completed and tucked under their board, and lastly for the fire track. Whoever is in the front space of the fire track will score no points, and for every step that a player is behind, they will score an associated number of points as shown on this tracker down here, and whoever has the most points is the winner of the game.
In a day where I complain often about giant games, some of them being Mind Clash games, I want to give props to not only, this is a very economically sized game. This box, everything fits in, and it's not, it doesn't feel when you sit on a table like they really cut on production values.
No, and on top of that, everything fits in the box. It's not a small box to say like, haha, small box. Like, no, everything, the production feels good, right? My like only little complaint is like those cardboard pieces that you move up the tracks on your player board. Like it might drop off, and
You beat me to the punch. That was the one thing I would have said that I wish that had been like a holes in the board so they would have fit in a little easier or something like that.
Yeah, it's such a minor production complaint.
The art is good. Yeah, it's a very good production across the board.
Yeah, and it's not an over-the-top production like some of their other games, but in my opinion, it's the production that matches the game really well. I love Andrew Bosley's artwork. The dragons are fun, and the town's people, like I can tell what everything is pretty easily from a glance, unless I am sitting upside down from the board, and I always have to ask, who are the 3 townsfolk?
Sure, the townsfolk, you're going to always have to just pick them up and look at them.
Yeah.
The game has it. So this is called, what do you call it, Mind Clash Play?
Yes.
It is an easier game, obviously, than the big, heavy Mind Clash games. But it is an oddity when it comes to teaching it, because it does a few things that are not intuitive. The taking I call them shields, but they're called something else. Taking a shield rather than putting something out.
Oh yeah, the 4 aid tokens. Yeah.
And people are like, why would I take one of those? You're like, oh, this one you go down in heat. Also, by the way, it's weird to say you're heating up. That's bad.
That's right.
Wait, it's not. The heating up is good. But anyway, and then each of the places where you go to, it's basically an auction game, and that makes sense. But there is 2.5 pages dedicated to the mountain spot with long examples, which I really don't think many people are going to read past the first one because your eyes start glazing. You're like, wait, what? I don't know that they could have. That one rule, I feel, clunks up the game a bit. And the mountains.
It is weird because I glazed mostly over it in the overview explanation. I said there's the multiple layers you kind of move up, but you have to have the purple discs and everything. It's not that it's super difficult. It's that it doesn't fit with the other 5 action spaces, which are so just very smooth. You have the highest bid, pick a card. Next person goes. And the bottom row of the mountain functions that way, and then it turns into a whole separate little mini game to climb up it and possibly get the extra dragons. And I've almost always seen someone go, okay, well, I lose a purple to take a second row card. Oh, hold on, I need to lose another purple because the card cost itself has now I can't go up to the top of the mountain. Let me rethink this. It's not just that it's kind of hard to teach. It trips up players.
And one of the shields you take also is you win ties, which almost doesn't happen, but I mean, it can.
Yeah.
And you're like, ties for what? And you're like, well, because of this whole thing going on. And and the fact is you need to go to those spaces. Those are the best dragons in the game. You need dragons for everything else. You need heroes to go on dragons. You need
pair them up with the landscapes. They're good points. Yeah.
So I just found that part to be, and I felt like there's little bits of that interspersed in these rules. Even the last thing, I think they're called strongholds or something like that.
The objectives, garrisons.
Garrisons, that's right. They're a little weird in how they function. Like, take it, but you haven't scored it yet. You're like, oh, wait, what? Oh, okay, I can, because you think, oh, I'll just go there once I've done it. No, you can take it anytime you want, but then you have to score it later. And again, these are not, I don't want to pretend that this is some complex game. It's not. But I think teaching it, it's like easy, weird, easy, weird again. And I think I think this is, even though you call it Mind Clash Play, I still think it's gamer.
I agree. This is not a common worker placement type of a game like Lords of Waterdeep. It's not something as approachable as that. It's definitely a step up, and I think that's fine because Mind Clash still has that identity to them as making hobby enthusiast-focused games. And this one is more approachable than Anachrony, than Tricarion, or some of those games. And I think that for those moments of complexity, as long as someone can understand those rules going into it, they can help clarify all the things, and the game still runs smoothly. Albeit with a few hiccups along the way. I still enjoy it, but I recognize that it feels, those little mechanisms feel just a touch out of place with how smooth the rest of the game is, but I still really enjoy what's going on. I enjoy the overall package.
Yeah, it's a weird one. A good example also is that you have a dragon. You put him on top of a stack of things. Oh, wow, what does that do? That gives you these bonuses. On this one, you pay less workers. Fantastic. On this one, you go down in heat. Great. And on this one, you get the equipment if you go on the number 3. You're like, wait, why? Why does that matter?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't know why. That's just what the rules say. And it's those little things that I think we'll miss, and I worry that it will frustrate people. It frustrated me as someone catching everybody, being like, no, actually, this is how that works. Yes, I know you put 3 purple guys on the mountain. You needed to have put 4.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, these are things that if as you play this game repeatedly with your group, those issues will smoothen out, with a little bit of ironing. And we're in the position where we teach games to a lot of people. And so that's kind of the biggest struggle, is that this game feels like a game that is very fun to teach new people, but for those kind of hiccup moments.
I do like the worker placement, although it's really, we say worker placement, it's really an auction. And because of that, you need to also go in knowing this is a mean game. If 3 people go to a spot, I'm like, well, I'm going to the 4th spot. Sorry, person in number 1. You're not getting anything now. Yeah. You could have bid higher if you want it. And I also like that the the grunts or whatever they're called, the regular dudes, they go away, but the upgrades don't come back unless purple. They also die, but.
The upgrades come back, but they're more specific. They're locked into specific locations. I think that's a great dynamic that the game has.
That's the best part of the game, I think. It's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. And you can spend the equipment and be like, I'm done having a bunch of blue guys. I'm going to turn them into purple, And so I like that they're kind of, these cross-training, CrossFit, worker placement, bidding chips. It's weird terminology, right? But I enjoy games that do this type of thing. Other games like Rurik or even a little bit like Luthier, right? These comparable points. But this one's kind of the most approachable game that has done that, except for, once again, those little exceptions.
Yeah, so that's where the whole thing comes down for me. For me, this is a 6 out of 10 because I like so many of the concepts in it, but I feel like the amount of little extra things push it over the top for me. Even minor things. Like putting workers out to a bid to get more workers. And so I feel like I have to sit and do some unnecessary math. Like, okay, I'm going to put 3 workers out, but I'm going to go down a heat, which might score me an extra point up there. And that, again, that's not a big deal. But so let's say I'm a gamer and come into this. Then I think parts of the game will feel trite to me. So it doesn't feel quite there. It feels like this is a game that's almost developed and could have used a little bit more. That being said, it's a wonderful production. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. I'm probably on the low end for gamers, and I didn't dislike it. I'd play it. I don't know that I want to keep playing it. I'm like, I'm fine with it, which is why I'm giving it a 6.
I'm coming in higher. I'm at a 7.5. I recommend this one. I think that it's a solid game, knowing what you're getting into, knowing that it is more approachable, but compared to what? And I still think it's a step up in complexity. It's not... it's not going to be someone's like first worker placement game type of a thing.
For sure.
Yeah. But I really like what it does, and I really like having those combinations. I like getting that villager or that hero and like, I don't have a dragon paired up with it yet, but once I do, I'm going to have this cool ability. I'll have some nice end-game scoring. I think that the grabbing those shields, as Tom mentioned, at first maybe feels a little unintuitive, but it's a great
end of round.
It's a great end of round trigger too, where some rounds you're going to place all of your workers, and then once you're out of workers, then you have to take those. Other times people kind of rush it a little bit, and everyone starts panicking. I think it does a few things that feel unique in a refreshing and fun way. So yeah, I'm recommending it, despite the little complaints that we've had along the way. So yeah, Emberheart's very fun.
There you go, folks. That is Emberheart. I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Chris Yi.
And we're training dragons.
How?
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you, and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.